Greetings. It's a kind of quick video on my experience so far on Universal Credit. It's been an absolute disaster. It's been horrendous. I was previously self-employed, sometimes dropping onto a low income so I could claim council tax and housing benefit. And for 6 months I've been dealing with a quite severe eye injury, hence the sunglasses indoors. I was forced into a house move because of problems with my previous landlord, and because I moved house and because I had a claim for housing benefit and council tax, being on a low income at that stage, I was forced to go onto Universal Credit. So I did. The first problem was getting advice. People at the DWP offices in town, they've got nothing to say. They just give you a slip of paper, say phone this number, and you're just on hold. Just time and time again, and I was not in a fit state of physical health or even emotional, psychological health because of lack of sleep and exhaustion, as well as the managing the pain and half the time literally not being able to see. So it took me about 3 or 4 weeks to actually get a live claim in. So I've got that problem. I couldn't get the online thing done. I mean, I've written websites commercially. I've run a tech support system. I can do the Rubik's Cube, and I was struggling with this online portal. I just couldn't grasp it, and I couldn't prove my ID, despite the fact I've been online for decades. I've got a eBay, PayPal accounts that are decades old. I've got a post office account, and so it said I could use this post office account to verify myself. No, that didn't work. I can't remember why at the time. I was not fully switched on. So I had to go into town and take a load of documentation in there to prove my ID, and that wasn't sufficient. I can't remember why. They didn't like my tenancy agreement. I can't remember why I had to go in with receipts to prove that I'd actually paid the money. It went on, and eventually I got my ID sorted and the claim was live, etc. Now, I've had a couple of meetings with my work coach, and they will talk about me searching, getting back to work. I'm not looking for work. I'm not looking for a job. I don't need to look for work. I have a job. I'm a professional photographer, and I just had started to create I have literally created an entity of a video film production company to take my business up a level. That's what this year was going to be all about, but instead I've had this to deal with. So I don't need a work coach. I'm not looking for a job. I have a job. As soon as I'm fit and able to spend time outside with a camera and spend 8 or 10 hours on a computer, after 2 hours on a computer screen at the moment, 2 or 3 hours, my eye is knackered. I can't spend that time. So the only advice from the medics is to do nothing, is to just rest. I'm not able to sleep properly. I have to just rest. So anyway, so I had to put in a claim for backdating, and that's a whole rigmarole. I've got to go and get loads of documentation from the eye clinic, because I didn't do this through a GP. This was all directly through the hospital. It's time and effort again that I don't have. I don't have enough time, energy and effort in the day to run my personal life. I still haven't fully moved in. I haven't unpacked everything. I don't have the physical strength to get through the day. So now I've got these additional tasks. I've got to get this backdating thing done for the 4-week backdating. Anyway, come Thursday, a couple of days ago, a whole series of nasty letters dropped through the letter in one thick envelope from Hull City Council. Just the beasties. First up, council tax payments, direct debit have all failed. They went for 148 quid. I thought the direct debit was about 15 or 20. So they're telling me that all the direct debits have been cancelled, blah blah blah. I'm now eligible to pay £1,148. They want that like now, 14 days, or they'll start getting nasty with me. And this is a liability order. It's not even a summons, and this is dated. Well, on the 13th of May. That's 10 days after I moved. How have they managed to escalate and then successfully take me to court in 10 days without me even knowing? It's mental. So I start making inquiries. I'm confused. I'm like, why are you suddenly... How have you successfully taken me to court? I don't even know about it. And why are you now hassling me and threatening me with legal action for 1,150 quid? What? So it turns out council tax benefit is not done through universal credit. I didn't know this. I changed my address at the council, which classed as a change of circumstances, and they're like, yeah, you need to do it through universal credit. Everything's done through universal credit. So I go to universal credit, and like, yeah, your housing benefit is all done through us. But you might have to go and talk to the council separately about the council tax. Which, it's like... So I didn't know this. So now... I still don't fully understand it, but I've got about 6 months back payment that they're claiming for council tax. It doesn't make sense. It's a whole stupid mess. I've now got to start a claim with the council tax. I've got to start a backdated claim. I've got to launch this tribunal process. This is more work and effort than I could cope if I was 100% fully fit, and I'm not. Anyway, 3 of my days next week are taken up with various appointments. I've got a doctor's appointment next week, and I've got a clinic appointment next week. The last time I was at the clinic, I was out of action for 3 days because of when they took the lens out. That night, I had a massive problem, and it took practically 72 hours to recover from that issue. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk out of that clinic and carry on with the rest of my day. It's mental. So 3 days next week are out of action, so I've got 2 days to try and recover and try and start sorting this mess out. And sure, and I made a post on Facebook, and a lot of people, it never ceases to amaze me just how much strangers really do care about other people. And there's lots of advice and stuff. People talk about Citizens Advice Bureau, but Citizens Advice Bureau are in the pay of the DWP. The DWP are funding Citizens Advice Bureau. So, no, I'm not going to Citizens Advice Bureau. I'm going to have to find another way and do it directly, or find another advice agency. The other thing is, sure, and there's lots of, you need to go here, you need to do this, you need to start this claim, that claim, you need to start this process, that process, that process. And it's all very good advice, and yes, it all may work, and it all may eventually accomplish and get me out of this 1,200 quid hole. However, the whole point of universal credit was to support me when I was in a hole. Now I need a whole raft of secondary support to help me with universal credit. So the Kafkaesque mental logic, it's just it beggars belief. I went to Universal Credit because I was starting to sink, because this was dragging on. It had gone beyond 3 months. We're now into 6 months. I'm really desperate for this to heal and to be over with, so I can start and carry on with my life. But now I've got a bigger problem. I'm now, yeah, I just can't fathom it. The effort and the stress, this is gonna cause me just the last maybe 2-3 weeks, I've just started to physically feel like I'm starting to recover, and bang, I've been knocked right back down. It's the only thing I've thought about all weekend. I can't sleep because of my eye anyway, and now I can't sleep because of this fucking